You remember how we met towards the sport of boxing?
We met on the ring, Gleason's in Brooklyn.
What do you like? I know you're a sport guy. You like boxing and soccer. What do you like exactly, and why do you like sports, in particular boxing and soccer?
I think they keep your mind healthy.
Both of them, but you know,
any sport it keeps your mind healthy.
but you know, boxing is individually, and soccer is a team player game.
I started boxing because I couldn't find enough players to play soccer. After you stop playing soccer at a competitive level, it's harder to get people together to play and find places to play. So I moved on to boxing because I always did martial arts throughout my whole life. And it's a sport that you don't need anybody to box. One person.
Of course.
You get shot at box. You can practice the sport in your own time.
So you know, you're bringing on a very important legacy. You know, you among your family, the Cipriani and your brother Maggio. Like, do you think the sport, and how do you think the sport helped you out during your everyday, work day or towards your businesses and business career? If you helped, I'm sure it did.
Yeah, you learn many things through sports, but also it gives you a distraction from your everyday life, everyday business. Ciao, come stai?
Max.
Un'intervista.
Arrivo. Puoi entrare? Fai ciao mamma. Va bene, va bene.
Andiamo io.
So, when did you fall in love with the restaurant world?
I grew up in the restaurant, so I've been in it my whole life. It's kind of part of who I am. So.
No, of course, because your family passed it to you.
Yeah.
But when did you realize, and how did you realize that was basically what you really wanted to do?
Well, my dad always made us work in the summer since we were like 13 years old in every different aspect of the business. So we learned all aspects, and we used to work a couple months in the summer here and there in over locations. We opened some restaurants worldwide. I spent time in London. My brother actually went to have an experience in a hotel in Hong Kong when he was like 16 years old. And that's how we learned, and it just became natural.
There is something in particular that you love being in this business, like in the restaurant world? Something that you love more than other things, or something particular?
You get to meet all kinds of people that you wouldn't have met otherwise, you wouldn't have access to otherwise. And you get to learn many different businesses just by talking to the people that you meet. And, you learn many different things that you wouldn't otherwise learn going to school or being in a different business. It's the business where you have the most access and to different people.
Well, that's true. Now you also have Mr. C, which is your own brand of hotels and hospitality.
Yeah.
What do you think was your 12th round? Not only in practicing martial arts and boxing, but also outside in your personal life and in your work life. Did you ever had a 12th round to go through?
Well, it's funny, in boxing, like the most important lesson that I learned was talking to one of my first trainers, right? I went through a session, one of my first sessions. It was actually in martial arts, MMA, not boxing. And through the session, I couldn't remember anything because we went so hard. And I'm sure you went through that. Especially in the beginning, we went so hard, you feel like you're gonna vomit, you feel like you're gonna die, you feel like you're gonna shit yourself, you're gonna faint. And at the same time, getting punched in the face, kicked, and everything. And at the end, you kind of forget all the rounds. It's like you black out from wherever that was, right? And then at the end, my trainer goes, who was one of my best friends now.
Yeah, of course. Who's not?
You know what the biggest fear of every fighter is, right? And I go, I assume it's getting knocked out. I said, in front of a lot of people, right? And he goes, no. It's getting tired, like you got tired while you're on the ring. And it made sense, because we always talk about like breaking somebody or not wanting to be broken. But in that moment I realized, you know what? I'm gonna try and break myself every time I go to the gym or every time I do a workout, because
it makes you tough.
If you can feel comfortable in that state, then you can do whatever you want. Because 99% of people aren't willing to go
Through
where
this.
they want to go. Everybody's always talking about not being broken, right? Because they don't want to get to that point. If you can accept to get to that point, then you have a huge advantage over everybody. Even if you're lesser in skill, you can make it up by getting to that point. And once you start getting comfortable getting to that point, you see people's face changing. And you're like, okay, now we're there. You know, you don't want to be there anymore. Now I can work. Now I feel good. That's the biggest lesson. And I think you can apply it to everything, right? You get there in different ways. Maybe not feeling like you're doing boxing, but if you're willing to go the extra step, then you can do it.
You ever had any clubs wrong in business life and in personal life?
More in boxing than business.
Because you can't go wrong with you can't go wrong with your brand.
Yeah. Well, no, you can.
And me.